This is CBC Here and Now.
We were disappointed because we're going to lose our winter work.
You take aquaculture off of the south coast right at this moment, I do think that these communities will disappear.
Frankly, the Atlantic Salmon Federation has had enough of this. The public has had enough of this. It's time for change.
They're stepping up to the plate. It takes time to get all this out of the water.
Calls for independent oversight for the aquaculture industry after a massive salmon die-off in Fortune Bay. This as residents praise the company for being on top of the cleanup. Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Carolyn Stokes. We have continuing coverage from the South Coast tonight as more divers are being brought in for a massive cleanup in Fortune Bay. Northern Harvest Sea Farms is recovering hundreds of thousands of dead salmon from its pens. Once again, our Anthony Germain is live from Harbour Breton tonight. So Anthony, what have you learned today?
Well, the interesting information really from divers, first of all, that there are divers. We knew there were some from New Brunswick joining Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, now apparently from other provinces, Ontario among them, which could mean that it's a sign the province is really pulling out all the stops. It could also be an indicator that this cleanup is big, really big. Some indications that people working on that cleanup think it's going to take more than another week or two, maybe 3-4 weeks, so we'll keep our eyes on that. But also the divers, if you think of the pictures we showed you of the seiners churning out that salmon froth as they try to load the loads of the ships with the dead salmon, they are in the bottom of those nets, and apparently some of the problems the divers are encountering is that the fish have been rotting for so long they've congealed into these large blocks, and so it takes a fair bit of effort for the divers to break that up before it can be vacuumed out and loaded onto those ships. Also, interesting point, apparently at the end of this job, each diver will be given a new suit, and that's because the substance that they're dealing with down there, the slime, the rotting goo, the noxiousness of it apparently has decomposed or can decompose part of their suit, so they get a new suit out of this. Now, the other thing, you saw those vessels, those have moved on. Both seiners that we showed you last night on Here and Now, they were seen in Burgeo today, so they load up with tons of rotting salmon here in this part of the province, and they go to Burgeo, where it's brought to the Barry plant there to be turned into fish meal or cat food. So locals there noting the smell as well. You might recall last night we showed you the fat globs and oil on the water, as well as parts of desiccated salmon floating just beneath the surface. Well, what I forgot to tell you is that as ugly as this cleanup looks, it smells even worse. Now here, of course, on where we are in Fortune Bay, a lot of concern about just where this is all going. Later on Here and Now, you're going to meet two people who are very sympathetic to the company and to the aquaculture industry. However, what has happened here is also an opportunity for aquaculture's critics. People have been warning about problems with the industry for a long time, and one of those critics is Don Ivany. So Don, you've been out on the water, you've seen some of the cleanup that's happened. What's your sense of what's happened here?
Well, it's another disaster, you know, one in a long list of disasters that we've seen with this industry here in Newfoundland over the past several years. We've had 12, 15 outbreaks of infectious salmon anemia. There's ongoing sea lice infestations. This is, I think, the third meltdown of the industry. It's really heartbreaking to see this happening again. It's heartbreaking on the environment. It's heartbreaking to see people being put out of work here as a result of that. And to know that the key issues that need to be addressed to regulate this industry properly is not being addressed by government.
Okay, so what does the Atlantic Salmon Federation want?
Really, what we want to see here, well, in short term, for example, what we want to see now, given this, what's happened here, is we don't think any more fish should be put into these affected cages until which time there's a public accountability, and whether that's by a third-person audit or whatever it is. But we want to know what were the circumstances leading up to this latest disaster. Who knew what and when should have been reported differently? How do we go about fixing it? That's one thing. Second thing is, you know, we heard the minister on the news the other night saying Jerry Byrne saying that he would like to see the people displaced out in BC come to Newfoundland. Here we are in the middle of this major disaster, which is what it is. And you know, if anything, what we need more than anything right now in Newfoundland is a pause and a moratorium on any expansion here in Newfoundland until which time that the provincial government and the industry can convince the public whose funds are investing in this industry, that they can convince the public that they're able to control the fish that they have now, and they can prevent these kind of things from happening in the future. In the long term, we'd like to see the government give a lot more consideration to closed containment operations. We see no reason why it couldn't work here in Newfoundland if it's done properly, and you know, I'd like to see Newfoundland, and we'd like to see Newfoundland out ahead of the game, not behind the game.
Okay, well, as you know, the company, a lot of people in aquaculture say they can't afford to go the land-based route. We can talk about that some other time. I want to ask you about the regulations that are involved in this. If an oil company had an oil spill and said, we'll tell you what we know about the spill in our annual report months and months from now, there'd be an outcry. Do you think that aquaculture needs something like the CNLOPB, like some kind of other regulator for aquaculture?
Absolutely. I mean, we were shocked to hear a comment like that from the aquaculture industry, and I suspect is they really don't want people to know how large of an issue this was and the size of mortality stuff. But yes, I mean, we've been trying to deal with governments for a long time here and the industry. To put it bluntly, you cannot trust these people. They're working together for the same thing. The government is promoting the industry and also supposed to be the regulator. What we need here is an independent third-party audit oversight. You know, people to come in that have no vested interest to make sure that the regulations are being adhered to, both on a timely manner and you know, to prevent problems from happening. It's not happening. Most of all, what we need are better regulations that we don't have. The regulations we have in place now do nothing to address the real issues such as the infectious salmon anemia and the number of outbreaks they've had. They will do nothing to address the similar die-offs like we just had due to ocean temperatures and so forth. Same with sea lice infestation, same thing. These are the major key issues. I think what we really need is to bring all parties together to develop some good regulations that are in the best interest of the people of the province, the environment and the industry and the people who work in it.
Don Ivany, obviously a severe critic of the industry, but if you just look here in Harbour Breton, I mean, this is a stunning community. There's pride of ownership, beautiful tidy houses, nice yards. There is money here and people are very proud of it. And this is just one community in Coast of Bays. We're going to meet some other people later on here and now who'll point out that this is only possible because of aquaculture.
You can see there an absolutely gorgeous day down on the south coast, plenty of sunshine, but to start it was a pretty chilly morning right across the board. Actually, Badger down to -2 when you woke up this morning, 2 degrees in Burgeo, 3 for St. John's. And then this afternoon those temperatures recovered slightly into the double digits along the south coast, still failing to reach those double digits for parts of the island though this afternoon. And we did see some reports and even outside the studio here of some grapple. Now, I'll explain the difference between what grapple and hail is because it sounds the same when it hits the ground, but it certainly isn't. And then to look a little bit ahead, we do have a warm-up on the way, so that is good news. I'll have all those details coming up.
By far, the biggest issue here is speeding on all our roads.
Still ahead tonight, paying to curb speeding. Towns and cities on the Northeast Avalon pitch in to pay for a bigger RNC presence on the roads. And
we needed a little time to breathe.
Newfoundland and Labrador residential school survivors are still waiting for a provincial apology almost 2 years after it was promised. I'll have an update on where that apology stands today, coming up on Here and Now.
Well, the power is out for a couple of thousand residents on the Burin Peninsula right now because someone tried to steal copper wire. Newfoundland Power blames vandalism at one of its sites for knocking out power to several communities. The company says vandals illegally went into a high voltage substation in Grand Bank and attempted to cut and steal the copper. It hopes to have power restored by 9 o'clock tonight. The RCMP is investigating. Well, efforts to keep electricity rates affordable in the Muskrat Falls area entered the public spotlight today. Hearings before the Public Utilities Board in St. John's are now underway and will continue for the next few weeks. The first witnesses this morning were from Liberty Consulting, which has delivered a report containing some sweeping recommendations. Liberty has identified opportunities that could generate hundreds of millions of dollars to keep rates from skyrocketing, including a recommendation litigation that would see the provincial government forfeit its return on equity from the nearly $4 billion it invested in the project. Liberty is also recommending that Nalcor be radically downsized. Without any action, rates will spike by about 10 cents when Muskrat Falls is commissioned in 2 years.
We see some hope that there may be large buckets of dividends and possibilities to assist in the mitigation process. They've also gone beyond that and discussed for the future, because as a project comes to an end, I think it's common sense that Nalcor will downsize.
Well, it'll cost more to buy a case of beer in the province starting this Sunday. The Newfoundland Liquor Corporation is increasing the prices of many of its products by 1.3%. Let's look at domestic beer. A 6-pack of Coors, for example, will cost $15.70 as of Sunday, an increase of 31 cents. A dozen beer will see an increase of 48 cents with a new price of $27.49. So why are the prices going up? The NLC says it's part of an annual price review, which looks at the changing costs of the NLC and its suppliers. It says some products will see a slight decrease in price. A controversial garbage collection service on the Avalon is headed for the bin. Objectors are cautiously celebrating, saying they've long been billed for a problematic service they never received. Here Now Cease Hare explains.
Happy enough for now. We've just got to see how it plays out, because there's always something behind that door that you haven't even seen the knob to it yet, let alone know what's behind it.
Placentia Junction cabin owner David Crawford challenged his garbage collection bill in court and lost. But he kept fighting. At times, he says, there was no garbage to pick up. Other times, trash was left for days or wasn't collected at all.
He said, we take people to court who don't comply, and we always win, and you will pay. And I said, well, you can't even get in here in the wintertime. I got to walk in 3 kilometers to get in here, towing a toboggan with my supplies, and you're going to come in and get my garbage that don't exist. Yep, that's the way it is, and if you don't like it, too bad, basically, and off he goes.
Crawford is with Cabin Owners Against the Trash Tax, a Facebook group that kicked off a campaign against the service a few years ago. And for the most part, they're happy. In the new year, unserviced roads in unincorporated areas will no longer receive garbage collection. But it may be too soon to celebrate. If 70% of the property owners push to get the service back, it'll be reinstated.
This was largely in response to a government directive. The government was directing us to remove service from some of our catchment area.
It's estimated about 3,000 properties, mostly seasonal cabins, are coming off the collection list. Board President Harold Maloney says that may not be a good thing.
We provided household hazardous waste, and we provided 2 or more bulk pickups per year. So it was quite a significant event. And some of these areas, when we went in, we spent a long time cleaning garbage out of the hills in those regions. My fear is that will become an issue as we move forward.
Meanwhile, property owners losing the service in 2020 will soon be contacted to see if they want it reinstated. Cease Hare, CBC News, St. John's.
To Conception Bay North now, where the town of Victoria is fed up with vandalism at the local recreation center. Now the local council is intent on finding out who is responsible. It happened 11 days ago, and Mayor Barry Dooley describes the damage as extreme. He says someone pelted the building with rocks or metal or possibly pellets from a pellet gun. There was so much damage that all the siding, the outdoor lights, a door, and the windows will likely have to be replaced. Dooley says there has been past vandalism, but nothing like this.
The main thing is we do find out who and what happened, and we have to go from there because, as I said, so much effort has been put into this by the town and volunteers and everything that it's a shame to see this happen and whoever did it not have to pay in some form of, whether it be work back towards it or pay for the damages themselves. I mean, we're hearing it's only kids, so it's going to be a difficult case, but somebody eventually will have to be held responsible, and, you know, we're going to take this to the limit.
Well, it's been nearly 2 years since Premier Dwight Ball promised the province would apologize for its role in residential schools. So far, there's been no apology, but as Here and Now's Katie Breen reports, talks have apparently renewed.
Next month marks 2 years since Canada apologized to Newfoundland and Labrador residential school survivors and their families, people who were left out of the national apology made more than a decade ago.
I humbly stand before you to offer a long overdue apology.
Today, those same people are still waiting for the province to speak up, because 2 years ago, on the eve of that federal apology, Premier Dwight Ball promised he'd say sorry for Newfoundland and Labrador's role in the system. When you request internal government emails through ATIP, it's not unusual to get hundreds of pages back. But when CBC asked for any emails about a provincial residential schools apology, this is all there was. Just a few emails dating back to 2017. Nuhatuavut President Todd Russell acknowledges some gaps in the discussion, but he says his people needed time. There were 5 residential schools in Newfoundland and Labrador. Russell said an apology for the abuse suffered inside those schools is on the agenda, but first, his members had to process the federal apology. They needed time to breathe. Recently, Russell told the Premier Nuhatuavut was ready.
We had indicated that we're now in a position to start looking more, I guess, intimately or more profoundly at what that apology might look like, and it could be different for different communities.
Residential schools took Indigenous children away from their families, forcing them to stay in the institutions overnight. The Innu want a provincial apology to address day schools as well, schools that resulted in similar abuse during regular school hours. As for what the Nunatsiavut government would like to see in an apology, it didn't provide a response. In a statement, Premier Dwight Ball says there's been progress and he's committed to giving an apology in person. He just isn't saying when. Katie Breen, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, most of Booth Memorial is being torn down. The former St. John's High School first opened in the 60s and closed in 2015. Pennacon Realty, now known as Fort Amherst Properties, bought the building last year, along with the neighboring high school, Bishop's College, for about $2.5 million. Bishop's is being turned into a seniors complex. The company hasn't shared definitive plans for Booth, but has said something similar may be done there. The bulk of the school is coming down, but the annex closest to the Salvation Army building will stay up.
A marine tragedy 10 years ago. What fishing vessel safety measures have changed since then?
Our recommendations are not being addressed as quickly as they should be. 25 years to address a recommendation in anybody's book is a bit long.
I'll have that CBC Investigate story coming up.
Well, welcome back to Here and Now. We've talked a bit about the environmental mess caused in the salmon cleanup, but obviously there's some financial concerns and maybe a financial mess down the road as well. So we'll talk about the economic impact with a fish plant worker. You've been working there for how long, Diane?
I've been employed in this plant for 31 years. Yeah, so we came, well, it's been different companies came and went, right? But right now we're at Barry Group.
Right. Now, what are your thoughts about what's happened here with this big cleanup that has to be done?
Personally, last night I stayed up and watched CBC News, and I thought what I saw was, I know it was a mess. Yeah. If you went down there was no movement, like no one, it was just sitting there in the water. But as Maui, as a company, they're stepping up to the plate. It takes time to get all this out of the water, so eventually it will get cleaned up, but it just takes time. But like, that's how I felt about it, that I thought that if there was nothing happening, then I would worry.
Right. But so you're giving the company credit?
I am. Like, you know, you got to realize this is costs and barrels. So like, they're going down and they got to do the job right. So, I mean, they had a plan put in place, and I guess the corrective action is gone forward, and they're following it.
All right, and we'll see how long that takes. But I want you to talk to me a bit about the importance of the jobs here to Harbour Breton in the area. And I'm assuming that most of the people in that plant are women?
Yeah, most of us are women. Well, we're up in prime age too now, eh? We were disappointed because we're going to lose our winter work. The fish that's gone was supposed to be processed now in fall and winter, eh? But like everything else, well, we just got to sit and wait, and hopefully that by next summer or early fall, that the salmon that's being put in now will be ready for processing again. That's providing it gets over the summer again. Well, I got to go through the winter and the summer again. So hopefully that God stays on our side and we'll get back in production again next fall.
I guess, you know, one of the questions we've asked the company is, you know, how many fish have been lost, and that's because of our interest, but I guess the people that this matters most to are people like you.
Now, I'm going to put one thing straight. On the way to work this morning, I had open line on, and Keith Sullivan was on. And the question was asked, would he eat the salmon?
Would he eat the salmon?
Would he eat the salmon? And I heard no response. But anyway, eat the salmon. Because the salmon that we're doing is salmon that's being harvested. Harvest means that it's in the seine, live, gilled, bled out, brought to the plant, and it's gutted. Cleaned out, gone out with the head on, it's being graded, and it's gone to the fillets. Would I eat it? Yes, I would eat it.
Yeah, you bring it home.
I bring it home. Yeah. So, like, this shouldn't be, we're not handling the morts we call the dead fish. That's
the dead fish.
Right? So everything is good to eat.
Just last question for you, Diane. Is the FFAW in a weird position? Because obviously you've got members who, like you, who are working on the processing inside that plant behind us here, and you've got people in boats who were on Here and Now last night. It's kind of a weird position, right?
It is a weird position for Keith. I sympathize with him, but we're same union. We're same. To me,
like, pay dues.
We pay dues, and to me, like, I can understand the fishermen. They got issues too, no more than we got them, but it's in different. Like you got to realize they own their enterprise. We depend on this company. You know what I mean? So I mean, they can take their boats and go anywhere, but we can't. We got to stay here and take it. And like, we got faith in this company, and if you keep faith in this company, and the people's going to work out, this should make this work. Like, we're still going to back them up anyway. So when it comes to Keith Sullivan, like, I kind of feel bad for him, because personally, like, when I found out yesterday he went down to represent the fishermen, I said, well, what about me as a fish plant worker? I'm the one as handling this fish. This is my livelihood. I depend on this, and a lot of us in the plant. This is our job.
So obviously, for anybody who works in the plant here in Harbour Breton, the future of aquaculture, very important, and a lot of concern about whether there'll be enough fish to keep many jobs around here in the next season. Now, coming up a bit later on Here and Now, we showed you last night some fishermen who are concerned about all that salmon that's being processed, the dead salmon. I want to introduce you to one man who's fished his entire life, and he literally thanks God for aquaculture.
All right, it's a beautiful evening down in Harbour Breton, as we could see. Yes. Anthony live down there this evening, lots of sunshine. But here in St. John's, had a little bit of weather this afternoon, a bit of grapple.
Yeah, we have some video of some of the grapple. There it is there, and then you can see in behind it, There is a, well, we're going to go look closely. So you can see what it looks like. It kind of just looks like snow. That's
and
hard.
A rainbow
and
there.
There's the rainbow there. Yeah, gorgeous. That was taken in Conception Harbor. So what's the difference? We've been talking about how people think that it's hailing because it sounds like it's hailing.
Right.
It's not. So if we take a look at the difference between grapple, hail, and ice pellets, grapple is that, and that's what we've seen. It's a soft ice pellet, and so what happens is it starts off as snow and then it goes through a layer of what we call super cooled water droplets, and that adheres to the snowflake. So that's why it's hard when it hits the ground. Now, hail is a solid piece of ice and it has layers, and that normally happens in warmer weather, and that's because the ice will go, or a raindrop rather, will go to the top of the cloud, freeze, come back down, melt, and then it just kind of gets layers and layers. And then for ice pellets, those are hard translucent pieces of ice. So that's very similar in the sound, like I said, as grapple, but they are two very different things. So that is certainly what we saw falling today, and those temperatures, even though sitting around the 6 or 8 degree mark, because it's going through that super cooled water droplets, we are seeing that fall. And that's mixed with some rain as well. Here's your temperatures for Corner Brook, 10 degrees today, 6 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. And then right now those temperatures are sitting between 5 and 7 degrees, and they're going to drop as we head through the night tonight. So here's a look at some of those, the radar. Now it's not really picking up on it as we speak, or at least it's moving through pretty quickly through the Avalon. And we are seeing that shower activity along the west coast as well. And that will generally continue tonight with the risk of either some more grapple falling, and in those higher elevations, potentially even some wet snow. Certainly the long-range mountains, you'll likely wake up to another dusting by tomorrow morning. Grand Falls winds are now anywhere really in central, could go down to below 0 tonight, -2 for you, 1 for Corner Brook, 5 degrees for Marystown, and then 3 degrees for St. John's. Those winds are going to stay quite brisk again, anywhere from 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. Up through Labrador, you're looking at temperatures around -2 for Lab City. That slight chance of some flurries again this evening. Otherwise, we're looking at partly cloudy skies, so a lovely but chilly evening for most of the Big Land. 3 degrees for Cartwright. So here's a look at tomorrow. It's going to actually be quite nice tomorrow afternoon. Should stay with that mix of sun and cloud, but the clouds will be on the increase as we head through the afternoon. Best chance of showers will be along the south coast, and still looking at those cooler temperatures for Labrador. So Lab City, or really anywhere in Lab West, looking at that risk of flurries rather, and then some shower potential along the coast as well. Otherwise, you're just looking at cloudy periods through the day. Now, the other story is the wind. So it's been quite breezy as we head towards tomorrow. In the supper hour, we'll start to see those winds die down just a little bit. Your gusts closer to 20, maybe 30 kilometers per hour for the afternoon on Friday. And then as we head into Saturday, another brisk wind moves in. So we're looking at gusts anywhere from 50 to 60 kilometers per hour, certainly in those exposed areas. So here's your temperatures for tomorrow in the single digits with plenty of sunshine across the board. Tomorrow, again, the south coast, best chance of seeing those showers. Going to stay just below the double digits more than likely into the afternoon. 10 degrees for Corner Brook for you, but Stephenville looking at that chance of showers. 8 for St. Anthony, and then essentially the same forecast as today up through Labrador with those temperatures just a little bit warmer for Lab City. The good news is more warm up as we head into next week, but I'll have all those details coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, a team of scientists is in Triton tonight to get a close look at a killer whale that died after becoming entangled in a fish net. A local fisherman towed the dead killer whale to a wharf in Triton today. Federal fishery scientists are doing a necropsy to learn more about the mammal. DFO estimates the whale weighs more than 4 tons. A cod fisherman was fishing off Long Island on the northeast coast of the province this week when the whale became entangled in his gill net.
How do you solve a traffic problem in Mount Pearl? One way, more cops on the streets. Now they've signed on to a plan to make that happen, but it's going to cost them their own tax dollars. Details coming up.
Welcome back. Communities on the Northeast Avalon are pooling their own cash together to put more cops on the road. The regional mayors have agreed to split the bill for 4 new RNC vehicles to crack down on widespread traffic problems. Here now, Zach Gowdy explains.
In Mount Pearl, in Logie Bay, Middle Cove, Outer Cove, and right across the Northeast Avalon, one of the single biggest issues is traffic. People speeding, people running red lights, people driving dangerously. It's everywhere, and as the region gets bigger, the problem is getting bigger too. Now these communities have signed on to a plan to address it, but they need to spend their own tax dollars to make it happen.
The city of Mount Pearl has signed a deal with the RNC to chip in $30,000 over 6 years towards the purchase of 4 new police vehicles. Some Mount Pearl councilors objected to spending municipal money on beefing up a provincially funded police force, but the motion passed, and the region's other cities and towns are all signing similar deals.
Resident safety down here takes priority over everything else.
Bert Hickey is the mayor of Logie Bay, Middle Cove, Outer Cove, and says his town is happy to chip in $5,000.
By far the biggest issue here is speeding on all our roads, and it's a real concern. It's getting worse, and traffic down here has increased considerably over the years.
The town is already spending money to combat speeding. It has installed radar signage, added more speed bumps, and backed those up with a cheeky road sign, reminding drivers that speed bumps mean slow down, not ready to launch. This agreement will help the RNC double the size of its traffic unit. It states that outside of emergencies, the new vehicles will be dedicated to patrolling the streets of the Northeast Avalon. RNC Chief Joe Boland says the municipal money will be well spent.
It's kind of a little bit different for them that they'd be investing somewhat into a police service, and we'll see where it goes. But we're encouraged by the support that we've gotten from the councillors and the communities. I know that people are really wanting more enforcement and more visibility from police.
You could see those new police cars on the streets any day. Zach Gowdy, CBC News, Mount Pearl.
Last night in our series, This Is My Story, you heard about the sinking of Sea Gypsy Enterprises. 10 years ago, the small fishing vessel sank off the coast of the Avalon Peninsula, claiming the lives of 2 fishermen. At the time, Transport Canada said it was looking into a safety alarm that would alert crews when vessels take on water below deck. But our CBC Investigates team has found that a decade later, not much has changed. Jen White has that story.
It happened about 130 kilometers from here, off the coast of Cape Spear. The Sea Gypsy Enterprises took on water and started to sink.
A Newfoundland fisherman's been missing at sea for more than 36 hours. A fellow crew member is dead, plucked from the sea yesterday, along with 3 survivors in lifeboats.
I threw myself in the water. I didn't know who was behind, and I got sucked under the boat. I don't know how it came up.
The body of a 5th fisherman was never found. Among the Transportation Safety Board of Canada's findings, without the benefit of an alarm or some other means to detect water ingress, the crew did not detect the flooding until it was too late. Around that time, Transport Canada told CBC News that it was considering making it mandatory for fishing vessels to install alarms that would warn crews when there is too much water in a vessel's hull. Now, a decade later, it's still under consideration. Transport Canada says it could be included in the next round of updates for the fishing vessel safety regulations that will be published late next year.
Every recommendation that we do, every one of them, we believe they should be in place as soon as possible.
Pierre Murray has worked on hundreds of TSB investigations, including the Sea Gypsy. He says these alarms have been mentioned in several reports dating as far back as 25 years.
As a matter of fact, in 1994, we issued a recommendation to make sure that large fishing vessels are equipped with this type of equipment.
In fact, a dozen marine recommendations remain outstanding. Half of those go back more than 20 years in a sometimes deadly industry.
Our recommendations are not being addressed as quickly as they should be.
In the meantime, Pierre Murray has some advice for anyone working in the commercial fishing industry. He says don't wait for a safety measure to be made into a regulation, because he says that could be the difference between you making it or not making it home to port. Jen White, CBC News, Cape Spear.
Well, the waters off the East Coast aren't usually thought of as home to sharks, but there's been a growing number of sightings of great whites off Nova Scotia. A U.S. research vessel is there this week tracking and tagging the sharks. CBC's Brett Ruskin was on board.
So this is the O-Search ship. It's formerly an old crab fishing vessel that's been converted and added this specially designed lift here. It is custom made, able to go into the water, lower down. The shark swims onto that lift, then the shark gets lifted out of the water.
Okay, we have the acoustic tag ready. There's about 18 different projects going on at the same time, and so the science team is getting prepped.
Scientists surround the shark. Some take notes, some watch the clock. Only 15 minutes on the platform, water pumped through a hose. Experiments start even before the shark is released. But O-Search's methods have been criticized by some in the industry. They use power tools to attach tracking beacons.
Putting the tag on its dorsal fin, it never even moves, right? It's kind of like clipping your fingernails or your toenails or something. Certainly way less than an ear piercing.
But their research does produce results. Take a look at this. You've never seen anything like it, because no one has. For the first time, an ultrasound was taken this week of a beating great white shark heart, estimated at just 10 beats per minute. And the up-close access even lets reporters pet the sharks. Skin silky smooth in one direction, sandpaper in the other. Then it was back in the water and out to sea with one final glimpse of a fin. Brett Ruskin, CBC News, off the coast of Lunenburg County, Nova Scotia.
People on the coast of bays have made their livings from boats of all kinds of sizes over the years. I'm going to introduce you to a fisherman who spent his entire life fishing the old way, who says aquaculture, the new way, has saved this region. Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, in our coverage this week of the big salmon cleanup here on the South Coast, we spoke to some fishermen, lobster fishermen, who you may have seen on Here and Now last night. Gary and Philip, who expressed some concerns about all of what's happening here with the salmon coming down, the salmon bits and the salmon remains and the entire cleanup, and what that might do to the recreational fishery. Well, I want to introduce you to a fellow I met just down the road from Harbour Breton in Sandyville, a guy who fished his entire life, a very, very long time, and he says the problem with people around the bay sometimes is they just don't like change. Here's our conversation. So, Guy, tell me a bit about some of the difficulties when you were a fisherman.
Well, I suppose the greatest difficulty we had is that we didn't get much for the price of our fish. Even though codfish were more plentiful than they are today, or I say that as to what I think I've seen over the years, but, you know, price wasn't very much, so I guess we were content with what we had except for the prices.
Right. So obviously there's a lot of work, prices weren't great. Now, we've spoken to some fishermen here who are worried about this big salmon mess, saying, you know, it's going to be bad for the fishery. But you're a retired fisherman who actually thinks aquaculture is critically important for this region, right?
I think it's very, very important. And, you know, as human beings, we're not excited about changes taking place in anything. I mean, even from our churches down to the fishery. You know, we want things to remain as they were. But, you know, we do live in a world of change, and we must accept it. And in regards to the mess you're probably talking about down in Fortune Bay, you know, I think these things happen in the wild, out in the oceans, as much as they do, but we don't see them happen. So I think it all happens.
Right. How big a deal has aquaculture been for this area in terms of what has it done for people?
Well, I will use the term life-saving because in regards to the communities, not to the people, but to the communities, because you take aquaculture off of the south coast right at this moment, I do think that these communities will disappear.
There's really not very much else down here, right? I mean, a bit of forestry maybe, some lobster fishing, but you think of the communities out sort of Boxey, St. Jack's, Harbour Breton, what would the impact be if as a result of this spill, let's say the company says, we're gone, what would happen here?
Well, you know, the people will just have to go somewhere else to work. That's the younger people. And if this would become a retirement community, we know what happens to retirement people. They just die off after a while and they're not replaced, so the community would go.
So as a person who's lived here all his life, you're born and raised here?
I was born and raised here, and I spent some time, you know, as a younger person doing different jobs and everything else, but I love these kind of communities, and I thank the good Lord that, you know, he sent the aquaculture along to take up for the slack that was eventually going to happen right before our eyes.
All right. Well, obviously you accept change. Sometimes they say older people don't accept change so well. You seem to embrace it.
Well, I embrace this, what's happening to us, because we don't have anything here to rely on other than the fishery. Right. Because in Joey's day, you could probably start a glove factory in the community, or you could start any kind of an industry, but it didn't seem to last totally long, and they fell by the wayside. But in regards to the fishery, it is a continuation of what we grew up to.
Well, I'll come back to Conegra Bay someday. We can talk about Joey Smallwood's ideas in a different interview. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Have a good day.
So there you go. Not the typical point of view you might expect from a lifelong fisherman, but there you have it. A delightful conversation with a guy who's really thought about this a lot.
Interesting perspective. Thanks so much, Anthony, and safe travels back to St. John's.
Okay, Karen, we'll see you soon.
Welcome back, everyone. So, Ashley, we are this close to the weekend. Can you give us a little tease? Is it going to be good, bad, warm, cold?
Yeah, we are in for a little bit of a warm-up. We'll take a look at the current temperatures across North America. Now you can see we do have I'm going to say hot temperatures down through parts of the states. Nashville at 36 degrees, record-breaking heat there. You can see our temperatures, not nice, 4 degrees. That's well below seasonal for this time of year. Now the reason why I'm showing you this is because this warm pocket of air is actually going to have a little bit of an effect on our weather. Now don't get too excited, it's not going to be nearly that warm. It is October nonetheless, but we're seeing that ridging. Thanks to that warm air, some ridge of high pressure is going to make its way in, and that's going to bring in some warmer air as we head into the beginning of next week. Now, like I said, we're well below seasonal for this time of year. Should be sitting around 13 degrees here in St. John's, and daytime highs just barely reaching 8 or 9 degrees means we're anywhere from 3 to about 5 degrees below seasonal for most of the island. And the good news is that we're going to start to see some of that more seasonal, even above seasonal air for the beginning of next week. So before we get there, though, we do have a couple more days of these cooler temperatures into Saturday rather. As we hang on to some of this cooler air, we could see some showers, probably a repeat of what we're seeing today in those higher elevations, with that potential for some snow or at least flurries, and then some grapple or snow pellets again through the day on Saturday in most areas. Now in behind that, though, as we start to get into that ridge of high pressure, things should actually clear out for the remainder of the weekend, and then that's going to be the case as we head into Monday too, as that ridge of high pressure sticks in place quite nicely. So here's a look at your Saturday forecast. Again, those temperatures quite cool. Warmest along the south coast, Marystown 8 degrees, but 5 degrees for St. John's. 8 for the Straits, same for Happy Valley, Goose Bay. You're going to get into that high pressure a little bit sooner, at least some nicer weather a little bit sooner. 7 for Nain, and then Lab City still holding on to that chance of flurries, and 6 degrees. Now over the next couple of days, here's a look at your forecast. There's those temperatures I was mentioning, your overnight lows too. For St. John's and Eastern Newfoundland into the double digits. So 12 degrees on Monday. You can probably turn off that heat. Finally, Tuesday looking at 17 degrees. And keep in mind these temperatures may fluctuate a couple of degrees, but certainly good chance we could see temperatures in the teens. For central Newfoundland, 6 degrees for Saturday, and then a lovely warm up for Sunday with that sun returning. Slight chance of some showers into Tuesday, but your temperatures staying around 17 or 15 to 17 degrees, I'd say. Western Newfoundland, 10 degrees by Sunday, and then rain for Monday and Tuesday as you get into some of that cooler or some of that wetter weather. And then for Eastern Labrador, 7 and 8 degrees for the week, and then, or for the beginning of the weekend rather. To round that out, you're back up to the teens, so beautiful for you. Not so nice for Western Labrador. Those temperatures are going to jump up into 8 or 9 degrees, but nowhere near those teen temperatures. So Monday and Tuesday just looking a little wet. Now, even though it's a cool, gray, windy day, beautiful on the coast there, I'll tell you where this is too when we come back.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, with the federal election dominating the news lately, we wondered what the kids make of it all. CBC asked a grade 6 class in Edmonton, what makes a good leader? Here's what they had to say.
I think a good political leader should always, keep his word. He never lies.
Someone who doesn't make fun of people's appearances.
They're kind and they don't try and talk big but do nothing. Someone who is not all about themselves. They'll treat everybody fairly.
Somebody who isn't exactly a dictator and won't rule things, everything by themselves.
Wow. Won't be a dictator. Some very good perspectives from those youngins in grade 6 in Edmonton.
It's nice to see that they're engaged too, though, especially at that age.
Yeah, for sure. So this is a great shot that you have.
Our weather photo of the day today. I just love the coast and the water and the waves and the gray skies.
And the lighthouse.
That's right. Yeah, it's great. This photo was taken in Port de Grave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Great shot there.
Beautiful Port de Grave.
Thank you so much for sending that in, Lorraine Windsor. As I mentioned, some brisk days ahead still, but the warmer weather is on the way, which
that was some good news. Coming up, did you say the warmer weather is like coming up around Monday or so, or we might see some of it on the weekend?
Yeah, for the West Coast, you'll start to see that warmer air move in first, and then by the time the end of, or the beginning of next week rolls in, temperatures in the teens. So it'll certainly feel nice.
Nice. Well, I got an interesting sneak peek into a new exhibition that's happening at the Kitty Village Plantation this weekend. It's this weekend and this weekend only. We're going to have that on the show tomorrow evening. It's Morgan McDonald and Sheila Coltis. Okay. Morgan McDonald, you may know, he does these amazing bronze sculptures. Okay. So they have this paired exhibit together where they're honoring the Beothuk history of this province. So yeah, you'll want to tune in tomorrow night to see that because it is absolutely gorgeous and open to the public all weekend. So if you're already making your plans for, something to do on the weekend, that might be something to take in.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah. Well, that's it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night.